Hi everyone, good evening. It's 6:11 here. That's the 6 of the lovers, the 11 of justice, truth and balance. First we're going to take our deep breaths. We're going to take 3 deep breaths. So let's go ahead and do that. Another deep breath. And one more deep breath. Sending lots of love and blessings out to everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you guys are having a great day. The weather was beautiful here. It was a bit chilly out, but it was beautiful and sunny. And I have a message from the Metatron deck, a message of the day that I do with my 4 decks, and then the Twin Flame read in front of you, which is very geared towards the masculine today. But it's a very cool read because when I turn the lights on, you'll see the 2 of Cups and the lovers are next to each other, along with the 3 of Cups next to it, all upright in the read. So there's some really positive energy. And the card where the twin flames is the transition card, which is going through the portal. So there's big transformation there. And there's definitely shifts going on with that eclipse last night. So I was up to see the eclipse. I took some video and pictures of it. A lot of cool pictures came up, including some stuff I'll tell you about as I get into the message here. I'll show you the pictures as I do each read so that you can break them up easier when you try to identify them going through the video. So here's the Metatron read from this morning. And we're going to get into that. Let me roll the die first. For the Twin Flames, and today is November 19th, 2021. And we have Aries, the ram right here, which is interesting. I was meditating and I was seeing a ram. And the ram actually I was getting someone being rammy, like wanting you to get going. And the ram knew they had to wait. And they came over, but they just kind of laid down and resigned to the fact. They surrendered. They knew they had to wait and they weren't going to battle anyone. They weren't going to butt heads. So that came up. Number 4 is the Emperor, which again is Aries energy and structure, building, security, all that kind of 4 stuff. And then we have the Venus energy here. Sorry, you can't see very well, but there's the Venus symbol there. So some Venusian energy there with Aries. So Libra is Venus, and so we have that axis here with Aries and Libra. But there's also Taurus involved there, and the 4 of Aries again. So a lot of there could be, that side of Aries that's very kind of pushing their way forward, being aggressive. But I was seeing the ram not being aggressive, which is good. And then then forcing the Libra side of that axis needing to balance because Aries is just doing it their way. But if they're not just pushing and doing it their way, then there's less need for Libra to balance on their end. So it's kind of coming more to the middle. And then more structure there as well. So let's see how that plays out in the read. But first, let's do this Metatron. This Metatron read. Okay. So the underlying energy here for the Metatron read this morning, and by the way, it is the 19th, so the 19 is the sun. Today adds up to 35, which is the 9 of Wands, the wounded warrior. So exposing the wounded warrior, right, the victim mentality, which definitely came up in the message here today because all the stuff from your childhood is coming up here, right? Before we ever have friends, who do we deal with? Not only our siblings, but our cousins. So cousins specifically came up here, and the wounding to clear around that. And this full moon that we just went through early this morning was Taurus with beaver lunar eclipse. So there was a lot of release last night. Definitely felt the shifts going on. I was going to go to the beach today, but because I didn't get enough sleep last night, I couldn't get it together this morning in time to go. But it was good because I got some really good energies going on this morning. I did a clearing with Damien today. He did a meditation, Damien Wynn, on YouTube. So I did that, which was really good. And a lot of the key words he was saying were right in line with all the stuff that I was getting from my reads today. So, but I definitely was feeling some good shifts there. There's definitely a completion point here. And it's really the energies now through into 12/21/22 when we shift again at that point where the North Node changes, but it's also, of course, the solstice and the change of season. So the underlying energy here, starting out, it was at 9:44, which is the Hermit, and the 44 of the Four of Cups, grounding, integrating, and mastering love and the receiving of love. It can be boredom and apathy and feeling sorry for yourself as well. It can be not even seeing an offer that's being made to you, or seeing an offer that you think is just like everything that's come before it and you're not interested. So the underlying energy here was fire, and then, which is 19, the beacon of light, which is that lighthouse of 44, which we just had in the time as well, and then 15, which is clarity. So again, going within meditation to see what kind of shadow is coming up today. So the dragon was the first card coming up here, which was coming up as the sunset, because I took pictures of the sunset, which I posted with my rant yesterday. That was actually a picture outside my back window of the neighbor's area, the driveway out there. It was a really cool picture. But I was being guided to focus on the sunset because that was connecting us to the ancestors. And the ancestors were so much part of the release we were doing in this eclipse, along with Damien's release, which also focused on releasing ancestral lineage stuff. So I took those pictures of the sunset, and the dragon was coming up as that energy of the sunset, the strength of the sun and the beacon shining the light up to the moon last night, brightening the sun, the diamond white light shared both up and down, right? Going within to receive clarity on your shadow side. So I did a meditation at that point because I'm following these cards, these Metatron cards. You know, I'll pull a yoga card and do the stretches that I need to do, and then I'll pull a Metatron card, and always the multiple cards come up like that. If the cards stopped at 3 cards, I would only pull 3, but it keeps coming up in the 12 plus. It's 21 cards altogether because I do the three underlying energies, and then 18 come up for the rest of the read. So I was guided to go within and meditate, so I did. And the first thing I was getting was, it was so cute. So my inner little girl, I'm seeing her with E.T., like literally E.T. Just like the little girl in the movie, E.T. And she was helping E.T. walk around, and E.T. was like bobbling, like they can't walk really well. And then she was trying to help E.T. down the steps, and E.T. fell down the stairs. And that brought up for me when my son fell down the stairs, which was really interesting. I didn't think I was going to be going in this direction. But what it took me to was the cousins thing, because the reason my son, when he was like 2 years old, fell down the basement stairs, which were carpeted, thank God, but was because his cousins were over, and they were older than him, and the door was closed to the basement, but the cousins ran through the house. They opened the door wide open, and by the time I realized what was happening, I ran to catch up with them, but Matthew had just taken his first step off that top stair, and he tumbled down the stairs. And thank God, when they're little, they're very resilient. They're not as heavy, so they don't, bang at the bottom as hard as an adult would. But so of course that I hadn't thought about that in a long time. So again, cousins were coming up here, and also falling, which then took me to my cousins, because there was a whole bunch of stuff that came up with my cousins too, because my parents used to share a house with my aunt and uncle in the summer for 4 weeks. And the adults would stay downstairs and the 10 kids would stay upstairs. And, there had to be mayhem there. And they tortured me, right? Because I was the one who cried. So, yeah, it wasn't a fun time for me most of the time. So, although I'm sure, obviously some kids are in your family are worse than others, but there's always issues between people. And then there's other issues that were coming up around Thanksgiving and having the cousins over, or perhaps your aunts or grandparents that you don't normally see during the year. And also the being at the kiddie table, remember that one? So cat fights and bullies, mean girls coming up and being left out, not being cool or not being accepted, being chubby or having a big nose, curly hair, or a runny nose. Perhaps there was that rumor when I was in elementary school about the kid, the kid with the runny nose and who always looked kind of like scraggly, like they were a mess and they didn't know how to dress themselves. The kids would say things like they got chased up a wall by wild dogs and fell on their head. The boogie boy, the whiny girl, causing you to go within and hide, and then making you feel bad or stupid or clingy for going inside because you were being teased by them. Being called ugly, fat, slow, slut, weak, small or small-brained, fathead, blockhead, crybaby, Lucy and Charlie Brown definitely coming up there, or poops in his pants, or pees under the desk, always looks a mess, or too poor for the right clothes to wear, or the wrong side of the tracks. Miss Mary Mack never come back. Ew, what's wrong with you? Or they're a snob, or a jerk, or a prissy, or a prude, a liar, a whistleblower, a tattletale, a fat ass, shorty, tree. You look like a boy, you look like a girl. Why would anyone want you? You don't match those TV storylines or beauties. You might as well go ahead and kill yourself. Or, I'm going to kill you. Like, if you don't do this, I'm going to kill you. Or at least make sure you wished you never lived. All right, so there's all of these woundings that come up from our childhood of things we may have said to other people, or they said to us, or even our parents said to us, or our siblings said these things to us. So I needed to list all of those things because there had to be at least one thing in there that may have triggered you that you can now release, because now you can see it from an adult perspective as opposed to being a child. So the first card that came out was the water card and the dolphin, really reminding us to drink water or be near water. Like I said yesterday, you may be called, baby, I'm having a lot of trouble talking right now. You may be called to travel a little bit, to change the place, or what Damien was bringing up in his thing too is like the literal land, the type of land, like dirt versus sand, or just different locations that need clearing. So you may be called to do that. And again, the water's coming up as the chariot, the vehicle of infiltration, right? Because water gets into everything, it seeps into everything. So then the Metatron Bridge came up, which is number 27, the Ace of Wands, the third flame, and the Rainbow Bridge. And the colors that came up here were silver and indigo. Again, that comes up as Archangel Michael's indigo platinum shield. So making sure to protect yourself every day by just standing in the Christ white light, in the indigo or violet flame and the emerald flame to heal your body. However you want to heal yourself or protect yourself. Putting up those boundaries or saying a prayer of boundaries every day. It's all up to you, how you use it. Also, crystals were coming up regarding water, right? Because water are crystals. And rainbow was coming up as the air. And then I was getting the vehicle of the chariot with number 7, and the 2 was coming up of the High Priestess, and then the 27, which is the Ace of Wands, combining the 7 and the 2. The Chariot and the High Priestess. The crystals, also prisms, making rainbows by trapping or imprisoning light, fracturing, bending, cutting it off at the pass. So it's referencing our wounding to light passing through crystals. Then the sword out of the stone came up again, which was about what happened last night, removing the sword from the moon, right? No more wounds with the moon. And again, that has to do with pulling the last sword out of the heart too, right? The initial wound, the initial entry wound, which is when you first parted from yourself. At 12:01, which is the Hanging Man and the Magician. Water and crystals creating the rainbow that lead back down to the water, right? Because the rainbow is a big arc that comes back down to the earth, which is actually a full circle that goes beneath the earth, but you just don't see it. So the water are crystals that create the rainbow that lead back down into the water underneath the ground to find the sword, the unseen entry wound in the false light, or no real light, or distorted, fractile, outside the fracture of light through the water. The one with the sword out of the water, and one with the flame comes out of the earth upstairs, leading the way out from the wounded warrior, which is also coming up as World War, worrying, weathering the storm, and then the dancing between polarities. And I got big chills right there at 12:09, leading the way to evolution in birthing the new. The indigo child in their knowing is always whole, from the womb to wishing upon a starry night. The earth now cold after this moonlight from the sun, after the eclipse last night and the full moon, and removing the soul swapping machine from the moon, the wounded warrior with trapped kundalini energy waiting to be released. So who are you? Because this is the key. When you know who you are, you can then release the blockages that are not allowing that to happen. The Six of Cups of the innocent, loving children. As ancestors connect for appreciation and healing in energetic exchange and compassion, with pinks and peaches for compassion, along with the indigo silver for Archangel Michael's shielding, the key lies on your path in the ground, radiating in an auric field. Perhaps a gift for you. Maybe you'll find a gift today out on your walk, or you did, or your run today, or for your patience, your balance, and higher love, a present from you from the universe, which for me was when I went out for my jog after this. There's one dog on my route who's so sweet. It's a Dalmatian. I never was crazy about Dalmatians until I met this dog, and she's like super sweet. I think it's a girl. She has such a human face. But I haven't seen her in a long time, and she was out there today, and she really wanted to come out and be with me. But this comes up in the reading today too, because she's behind a fence and she can't be free. So into the sunrise today, and I was getting two shapes here. You have the upside down U, like an arched doorway, but another doorway is coming up with the point at the top, just like I told you, like a church door that has a point at the top. There are two different shapes were both coming up, like the upside down U and an upside down V, both arched and steepled doorways of the U and the V, but upside down. Or getting to the point where the land meets the sea, which is the unity consciousness, and two seagulls, or perhaps two gals hanging out, to take action or movement that is needed today. Make sure you stretch or get some kind of exercise to make sure you move your energy around. Inspired to self-nurture with pink shell, perhaps, or just that pink energy. The King of Wands, or the masculine side, needing balance here today in coming together for healing and making sure to pause to allow yourself to receive a healing, whether you're just imaging that healing hand above your head, or you're doing a healing like with Damien Wynn online, making sure that you give healing but also receive healing. And then I was called to do a meditation again right there. So, and this was really interesting. So what I saw was, let me tell you what I saw. I had to write this on the other page because I went into a download that they just took me all over the place. Where's this one? Okay. So when I did my meditation, and that happened to start at 12:21 till 2:22. I'm sorry, it wasn't 2:22. It started at 12:21, but I didn't write it down until like 2:22 was when I was finishing writing it. I was guided to meditate with Sandalphon, and I was getting those golden white lights with the peachy pinks again, that healing light. And I was imagining also the magnet above my head. So I was receiving healing and then the magnet to take out what doesn't belong in my energy, both at the same time. But when I started the magnet, because the healing hand was already on, it was already ongoing, as soon as the magnet started, I saw my red-pink mandala colors that I usually get for myself. It's not, it's more of a red color, but I can't describe it because it's not a human color. It's not racer red, but it's as profoundly like beautiful as like racer. Most people like racer red, but it's a little bit more pink and it's light, so it's different than the actual color. So it's, I don't know, it's hard to describe, but it's a kind of a red-pink, bright color. It came up really strong as a mandala, but then it became a solid circle of the pink or even more magenta type colors. But when I stopped the magnet and it just went to the emerald green to bluish green colors as I was still receiving the healing colors. And then I saw starfish. And it was like a star, and I was actually counted the arms, so I want to know how many arms there were, if it was a star or was it an octopus they were trying to show me. So I knew it was between 6 and 8 legs or prongs, whatever you want to call it, or points. But I wasn't sure if it was 6 or 8 points. But then I was guided to the crop circles and to look up the stars of the crop circles for some reason. And as soon as I went in there to look up crop circles star, the very first picture that was shown was a 7-pointed star, which is between 6 and 8. So it was exactly in between, which is why I couldn't get 6 or 8 because it wasn't, it was 7. So the 7-pointed star, the one, was the very first picture and the very first thing I saw when I opened it. But also within this first section of pictures was the ET as a crop circle that I posted on my Instagram today, because I posted a bunch of pictures from the eclipse and the full moon last night. And one of the pictures was, it looked like an ET where the moon was just passing around his mouth. But if you look at my pictures, you'll see it. The same exact ET was this crop circle ET that I saw when I saw this 7-pointed star. So that was really cool. So, all right, so going to this 7-pointed star, the starfish mandala and the crop circles with 7 points. So then I was researching that 7-pointed star because the picture didn't have any real information underneath it. It was just a post. So I was looking for more information about that crop circle and why they're guiding me to it. And it was from Sixpenny Handley. From originally the date I saw was March 6, 2018, but I think this crop circle was actually seen at 6/4/18, because this might have been another crop circle that came up under that date from the same location, because they come up a lot in the English areas. So I looked for, the first site I found was TexasUFOsighting.com, which listed the top 5 crop circles. And the one of the ET that was just like my ET in my full moon picture from last night was Starsholt, Hampshire, England. And it was so weird because yesterday, the day before, I forget which day it was, the Hamptons were coming up. Now, not too far from me is Southampton and Northampton, so I just thought they were telling me to look for places, or if I wanted to look at homes or something like that online, to look in those areas. But then the Hamptons were coming up here, and Southampton also came up specifically in England when I turned the page here in another part of this read. So they've definitely been coming up a lot. So this ET, also in this crop picture has a disc with it, which ended up being a binary code. And it literally translated into a message with this ET. And the message was, beware of the bearers of false gifts and their broken promises. Much pain, but there's still time. And that word was messed up, I think, in the crop circle. But there is good out there. We oppose deception. Conduit closing. And then there was a bell sound, or that was written. Bell sound here, right? Because they were done. So that was a really cool message on that ET. That one was from August 2002, the one with the picture of the ET and the disc with the binary code on it. So the 7-pointed one didn't come up as one of the top 5. So I went on still looking for information about that 7-pointed star. And let's see, so I found Mel Brake, WordPress.com, and he had brought up that the 7 points were similar to the energy of the sheriff's badge. And that started from 1886 in San Francisco, the police department. They actually changed from a 5 or 6-pointed star to a 7-pointed star, which references the 7 seals from Revelations of virtue, divinity, prudence, fortitude, honor, glory, and praising God. And then the 7 gifts of the Holy Spirit from the book of Isaiah was, number 1 was wisdom, 2 understanding, 3 is counsel, then fortitude, knowledge, piety, and then the 7th is fear of God, which of course we don't agree with that, right? Because that's fear. And we know that God doesn't want us to be in fear. So where else? Oh, so then that's all that website said. So I tried to find another website. It was a really hard crop circle to get any information on. But I found this one, which was amazing information. You guys have to go in and read it. This was from cropcircleconnector.com. And so the 7 star, it has 7 stars and 7 circles. I don't think I have a picture on my phone here. And you can look it up. It's I have my other, I don't have it in front of me. It has a circle in the middle of the 7-pointed star, and then there's a ring around the star that has like matching mazes, like a box that's like a maze, but they reflect each other in 2s. So there's 7 sets of these 2 mazes reflecting each other within a circle that goes around the star, and then there's a ball at each point of the star, but outside this outer maze circle. So there's 7 circles there too. So they analyze all these things to get the meaning from the crop circles, and this had 7-pointed star, 7 circles, and then these mazes that matched each other in pairs. So there's 14 of the little mazes altogether, but they were 7 pairs of the 14 in 2s reflecting each other between each point on the circle. So first, from the guy who's writing this article, and again it was from cropcircleconnector.com, the TRAPPIST-1 system, which is 39 light years away, has 7 Earth-like planets associated with it. This was discovered 2017, and 2 of those planets are capable of supporting life. And it's also part of the Aquarius constellation, so he thought this was a really cool connection. So that's the TRAPPIST-1 system regarding this crop circle connection. Then he went to science and molecules and the heptagon of 7. And what he came up with was, this was what amazed me, because we were just talking about the clean water from Cryon and how to get the salt out of the ocean water. So he came up with, because he was researching with different chemists and stuff, and what he came up with was tropylium cation. It's tropylium, and of course cation has to do with ions, molecules, and it's a salt. It's not an edible salt, but it ends up not being toxic either. but it says to wash your hands after using it. There's no vapor, and it's soluble in water. Cation is a seven-membered ring, and is flat and cannot be chiral. However, its anion, which is the partner to cation, could be chiral, however you say it, which means having a right or left counterpart. So it came up as the cation form of this salt doesn't match as far as the reflecting parts of the crop circle, but the anion could. So he's like, okay, well maybe it does match this. It may be used in this salt may be used in cosmetics and fragrances, but is it toxic? So he was looking further into it. And what he found was that the location of this crop circle was right next to an ancient mound, probably thought to be a burial ground from Roman times, about 2500 BC. So he asked another chemistry professor, who said it wasn't harmful, and it can be used, listen to this, with other substances as an organ catalyst. It can help purify pharmaceuticals and represents a less toxic and greener option, a helpful hint, which I felt like it had something to do with how we will desalt water from the ocean. And remember, that came up from Cryon, but I'm always guided to these things, and then they guide me to another thing that combines with these things. So anyone who's a chemist out there or knows what they're talking about when it comes to this stuff, because that's not my field at all. Again, the salt is tropylium. So in math, he was looking at the crop circle to see what kind of connection there could be there. The exotic seven spheres, from in a topology sense, from 1956, it talks about quantum gravity and general relativity, space-time, string theory, and the 7D quantum universe. So his equations also talked about right and left variance relating to the 14 mazes. So he was finding connections there as well. And plus, in Revelations, which is 14:4, which are the numbers he was dealing with the 14 different mazes and the 4 bends at each turn, alchemy of the 7 metals. So Revelations 4:4 or 14:4 is alchemy of the 7 metals and angels in the apocalypse of Earth. I'm having so much trouble speaking. What's going on with Mercury right now? So 7 angels and 14 counterparts. They're referencing to the mazes, right? Because they're matching couples. So 14 counterparts, spirals of 4 turns each. And I don't know, you can say the turns are 4 or 5 or actually 6 for someone else, or in another perspective that he used farther down in the article. So Mount Zion, before the 144,000 here, in Revelation 7 and the seal of 144,000, the prophetic date was May 14th, so there's the 14 again, which at the time he was doing that, he was saying was 21 days ago. And then the 21 comes up as the date, 5/14, whatever year that was, 18 or whatever, and it adds up to 21. And then he was getting the 3 by 7 equals 21. The other side of the mound that was present on this crop circle. So there's this burial mound on one side. And on the other side of this crop circle was a place where 2 different highways came together, A 354 and B 3081. So then Sirius came up later. So now I'm seeing it coming up here now too, because Sirius has Sirius A and B and C as well. But B was coming up as really significant, as well as the note B, which I think I gave you my B bowl when I did the song bowl earlier. So 2 highways came together, A 354 and B 3081. The star of bitterness upon the world. And vortices with 4 hours, did it say? 4 loops, 4 days, and the fourth day will be 6-7. So he was just going through his own processes on figuring out whether it's connected to this or not. 7 angels, 14 compartments, and now the 2-waved angel. So there's some kind of reference of the reflecting mazes to what an angel is. 7 angels in action, an alchemy of the planetary transformation known as the apocalypse. So again, they were making a connection of this to the apocalypse. So last year, as they were speaking, it's not me speaking, this is him speaking. Last year, July, a cube in process of alchemy appeared in the Centenary star, and today the symbol seems to be the end result of that process. The spirit rises, and so he's deducing, what this crop circle means, the star, that the earth is reborn, codes of life and rebirth everywhere, with insects coming out of their larvae, and the flowering of the flower of life. The very arise code of the 5-point star in 2013, and then going into the star Sirius, a strong connection to that 7-star symbol. The star of codes, the sign of light, of Isis, and the enlightened, and Thoth also comes up here, and the enlightened, the star of Bethlehem, who greets the birth of divine kings on earth, etc. So then Orion comes up with 7 main stars, representing the ancient gods being reborn in the initiation, and now it's elevated to the middle of the sky along with the sun at its highest point. So again, this was back in 2018 when this happened. The sum of 2 complete aspects is 7 plus 7, because 7 is considered a whole complete. It's that very spiritual number. The complete alchemy that we're done, we've finished. 14 pieces of the body of Osiris's resurrects. The 7 circles on the edge of the moon in the sky at certain positions, we see 14 sectors at the edge of a 4-turn spiral, and then referencing to the 4 days, 4 months, and 4 years. And then 4 days from where he was doing this would be the 7th or 8th of June. 4 months, and then 4 years was October 2018, which comes out to 2022 that he was referencing. So something big is supposed to happen October 2022. And I literally was writing this last part at 1:44 as a plane got really close. It sounded like a spaceship. So when I got 1:44, I was talking about the 7 circles on the edge of the moon in the sky at a certain position. We see 14 sectors at the edge of a 4-turn spiral representing the 4 days, 4 months, 4 years that end up at October 2022 at 1:44. So it seems to represent the 7-pointed star that humanity has entered the famous 7 year of the final transformation. Uranus orbits for 84 years, right? So it goes through 12 signs for about 7 years each. And so if you break it down to 14 of the crop circle here and the mazes, that is 6 times. And Uranus is in Taurus, by the way, as well. And then at 5/14/18 was the day Uranus changed from Aries to Mars. So not only a significant date for other reasons, but that's when Uranus changed from Aries to Taurus, 5/14/18. So the maze, that specific maze, which is just a rectangular box that turns 4 or 5 times into the middle, the ancient meaning for that symbol is time. 6 turns, including the separation between the 2 of them, times 14 equals the 84 of Uranus cycle, which is 2018 to 2025. or 2025 to 2026. I don't know where it ends exactly. So the time circle of a combination of astrological and apocalyptical, and tie the conception of accelerated process that we've already seen and witnessed. The Pleiades came up here too as being 444 light years away, and they actually showed a picture where it was actually 4:44 on the clock from June 14th, 2018 in Southampton, which I told you that was coming up for me here. So then Seven Sisters comes up with the Pleiades and the Holy Barrier. 7 wise souls and visible cosmic following of the wise souls. That it's circle reaction. It has to do with the circle in the middle of the star was supposed to represent the High Council. That each outer circle is depicted as an uprising flame in the middle to show you the real wise and loving beings which is into it. So that center point represents the higher beings, not the traditional leaders, right? But the wise mentors like you guys. The 7 wisest and the hands in many worlds. Honored by countless quote-unquote star people living and being as you and me, realizing the wiseness of those beings and following their advices. Then the Mayans were brought in here too, and I just wrote down the sections that date qualified as. So it was the June 4th, 2018. He wrote it down as being the solar seal red earth and tone 13. We just talked about the 13th sign. In blue castle with major energy of the yellow star in yellow crystal sand year or seed year from July 26th of 17 to July 25th of 18. Okay, so the 14 boxes, 7 groups of 2 boxes, 7 blue hand. The solar seal is considered number 7, and number 2 equals energy or white wind, and the solar seal number 2. So again, the blue hand solar seal number 7, the white wind solar seal number 2, and then again that brings up the 72 by 2, which is the 144,000, and the 27, which comes up here, is Metatron, which is the 3rd flame. But ultimately the symbol was about syncing with Source, where we are now, that we're becoming one with Source. So after healing, so what was really important that came out of that assessment was the salt. And you really have to read the article because there's a lot of good information in there. It was just too much for me to summarize. But the salt may have something to do with cleaning the ocean waters. And then the message of this and the connection to the twin flames, especially with the pairs around the circle. So if someone isn't in tune with twin flames and what's going on with twin flames or doesn't believe in twin flames, they're not going to understand the pairing unless they go into just the theory of opposites and polarity, and then they can understand the matches because it's all about balance, and that's why they're coming up in that 7-pointed star. So then communication came up, and a message in a bottle with a shell on the beach, and Sandalphon was coming up again, and Sandalphon is sand. So again, talking about different land, whether it's dirt or sand, that you may need to transmute some of those energies in different places. The harp also came up again, so I listened to some harp music from Sangaya, and I was guided to B. So not only B here, but Sirius B came up, and I used the B bowl today, and B in Sangaya is for Pisces. And then guided to go into the inner child to hear and know me. And then 36 came up, which is the Atlas energy of the weight of the world, and Sandalphon. And then to go into the orange card, which has to do with stretching and releasing those stuck energies again with the 24 of the Queen of Wands. So there was a lot of fire last night, and we were being guided to cool off with water today and take the lead from 7 to 8, which again is that 7-pointed star to the 8 of the dance. In manifesting. The ice cube came up here too, which is so funny because Damien said ice cube too. He talked about sand, he talked about hips, which I was talking about bone structure yesterday, and he talked about an ice cube. Oh, about ice. He was referencing he was referencing a harp as I was listening to Sangaya, a harp. So everything was syncing with his meditation. And he was talking about like thinking of a string in the middle of the harp that's frozen, which I was getting the ice cube because there's an ice cube in the field on one of these cards. And that had to do with the moon last night too, right? Because the moon was being blocked out. There was no sun on it, no warmth. And how to melt that, right? To how to unstuck. It's like tweaking the energies. So he was referencing the frozen string as it's like an instrument that, you know, if you change locations, you need to retune your instrument because it may be off key if you go to a new location. So it's the same thing with our bodies, just tweaking it a little bit. And again, bringing up a long line of ancestors and the Ice Age. So for me, that's what I was getting here. And I didn't do Damien's meditation till later in the day today. This is stuff I wrote this morning. So the cards were coming up with really going back to your ancestors, which is what Damien did in this meditation. We went back to all the ancestors and forward to our children and such. But I was going back to the Ice Age. And that your ancestors have been saying to you, you and they have come a long way, baby, with you at the helm, because you're the one who's here transmuting all those energies and collapsing those energies for them now. And they're saying thank you. So Metatron Rainbow Bridge and the angel wing, which is referencing the third flame of the 27, birthing the Page of Cups, that innocence again, through the wounded warrior of the victim mentality and the kundalini that comes up and burns off that victim mentality and reminding you to set boundaries daily. The third column was coming up as that sword being pulled out of the stone last night, the reference of the sword out of the moon, right? No longer bound to the moon's false light anymore. And also the sword out of the heart, no longer being bound to the entry wound, the very first wound when you parted from self. The indigo's up in the moon, or up with the moon. It was referencing you as an ancient child. You are an ancient child. And so as you hermit, because you often need to, make sure you move. Movement is needed here to release any trapped energies. So it was really funny because when I forgot about Damien's meditation because I was planning on doing it today. And I forgot about it. I was going to go out and run. And then right as I was changing to go run, I noticed his video come up and it said 14 minutes until it starts, which was really funny because we just got finished talking about the 14 mazes in the 7-pointed crop circle. So then I looked before I left. I had pulled a quick card from the Reverie deck, and the bottom card in the underlying energy was calling me to look at it more closely. And as I looked at it, and it was a magnifying glass. I have to show it to you. Where's that card? Because it literally had all the symbols I had been assessing for the past couple days. You know, the pointed doorway versus the arched doorway, and then the Kundalini snake was coming up on either side, and there's a 7-pointed star in the circle of this picture. But I just want to show it to you so you get the energy of it. This one here. All right, so you see how there's a, let me just clear up. Here, I'll put the light on. Okay, so see the picture there? And you see how this is like a pointed doorway here, and then the circular doorway with a 7-pointed star, which is very similar to the crop circle there. And then you see the chevrons here pointing upward, which from the crop circle led to the other place of where the roads met. And then on the side here was the ancient, burial ground. It's very similar to everything about that crop circle. And it's 44, which is the grounding, integrating, and mastering here. Okay, and then I was getting the energy of the King of Wands becoming free. The wounded warrior needing a place to anchor down. So then I ran. And I was looking for blue feathers. And I'm like, why are you looking for blue feathers? You know you never get them when you're looking for them. But I just was looking around today, and when I got back from my run, I looked across the street too to see if there was anything there. And when I finally gave up at the front door, I fluffed the mat out at the front door, and there was the tiniest little feather there. I don't know if it was quite blue, but it was gray, and it definitely could have had some tinges of blue, except it was so abused. It was like a baby bird feather that looked like it had been so abused and messy. But it was right there. It was like the birds telling me we can't afford to let go of any blues right now, any of our Blu-rays right now. So the message of the day I did after this was just before the video. Let me show you the picture of this. All right, so this is the message here. Okay, and there was a second little part to it over here. All right, so that's the message of the day. And the underlying energy for that was the buffalo, the key, the moon reversed, and the mature man. And this was this afternoon at 5:08 to 5:10. So very grounded, yet heavenly, with a key to freedom at the eclipse or deception with the mature worldly man. And unity coming up there too with the key. Mr. Ed and Mrs. Ed, or the horse and the zebra, two as one hearts pulsing in the dragonfly, with the hummingbird clearing the way by leaving a feather perhaps, as the seal is broken to let the dog out, the hyena, or the hummingbird is passing high vibration word that the hyena is not welcome if they continue to sit on the fence. As the hyena slithers away from the scene of the crime, only to bump into the whale who's struggling with the energies as it's getting old, and the buffalo without much to say, perhaps even the mother and father here are not interested in having the hyena around anymore. They're getting too old for this. Whether the child's getting too old for this or the parents are getting too old for this, it goes both ways. There's a couple with directions to abundant exchange, going with the flow and staying in their own lane. The power lady present or with gift or gifts, looking out at the labyrinth garden or the crop circles and different people's perspectives on what it means, while an innocent pup is waiting for someone to take the lead or to take them out. Or a lady ran into her favorite neighborhood pup while out running who wanted to come with them, but they didn't have the key to get out of the fenced-in yard. After the bliss and the worst is over, the truth to the Queen of Pentacles reversed, and the Queen of Wands at home trying to escape to get to her. So the Queen of Wands may be dumping a load, a burden, or all their responsibilities in energetic exchange with Sovereign, or for her own sovereignty, and then announcing after and or the frustration of deception or up before dawn. With health issues of the Knight of Cups' community, ending with exposure or sunshine and completion around the world, and empty family rooms, filing with courts, deaths, endings, bankruptcy, disabilities, and the King of Wands with paperwork, perhaps got a hold of a sealed document or message, a vehicle of infiltration as the mature man looks at Atlas or a globe regarding changes around the world. Perhaps the buffalo with the key to the freedom from deception of the mature man, or knows how to get him out of a jam. The first section here at 534, which is the Hierophant and the Eight of Wands, that energetic exchange back and forth, which can be communication, travel, energy, but it's also the arrows of love. We have the raccoon, the scorpion, and the dolphin, the masked, the vengeful, and the bypasser. The raccoon is sad about the one on a magic adventure post-war, in the Emperor's courtship, or in a breakup here. Scorpion, Dark Mother, may be dumping emotions on some kind of energetic exchange, or a lot of back and forth at work, or working with energetic exchange, or lots of activities, or trying to push the dolphin off a bridge while they're passing them. And the energies, the signs that came up here were Scorpio, Aries, Capricorn, Cancer, and Taurus. The dolphin is very happy and compassionate here. Maybe the Queen of Cups crossing twin bridges, waiting for someone to act together, waiting for someone to get their act together and come out into an abundant marriage. Or Scorpio with pushy mother or boss trying to burn bridges, or Scorpio is the pushy mother or boss trying to burn bridges, either way, to the dolphin who can't cross then and ascend to a divine marriage. The second section here is the swans and the elephant with a mark on their head. The swans with a loving man with a choice of the empress or loving mature woman, or a mother and their official partner on the fool's journey. The elephant wounded warrior with no anchor here and a flame in their trunk, with a twist of fate with official person or the fool is putting off things in making it official. Or parents are getting married and the woman's side is fine as far as the family and coming, but the man with no support from their kids, or they're too busy working, or another parent is blocking them from going. Or the emperor's getting remarried and the empress is moving in with her parents and brother perhaps, or one's insisting or pushing their way in to a party they weren't invited to. Or Aries is free and they're really happy about being free, going on an adventure. Scorpio Capricorn may be pissed off, and Cancer happy if the Scorpio Capricorn would get off their case. Taurus, Gemini, and Libra reversed here too. Or there's a wedding where one side is not invited, or it could be two women getting married, which is why one side won't be part of it. And then we have singularly the moth to the flame with the King of Cups running out of time, drained, in need of sunshine or energy, and concerned about unity, and perhaps martyring himself if he picks one side over the other. The fourth section here is the camel, the fox, the unicorn, and the cheetah. The independent but a bit blue, and the fox who's loyal but yellow, with the unicorn on standby for the collective awakening, blocking the cheetah from pouncing on them just out of the gate. The camel could be the fox, or they're with the fox who's leaving the hen house for a higher love and separation from the atlas with the weight of the world, or the ship with no support or no anchor or water, and the fox with wise community of birds keeping their cards close to their chest, but with an expectation of a path to take, or just expecting. Maybe they're expecting someone to come over. The unicorn with sudden stardom or dreams coming true, ending conflict of the wounded warrior's path. The cheetah is mesmerized, but stuck with burdens and responsibilities and atlas and the weight of the world, and wanting to start over with the Queen of Cups, either wanting to start over with or as the Queen of Cups, working hard or laboring. So here we have someone expecting and laboring, so there definitely could be a pregnancy here too. So this could be a crowd waiting for a birthing to happen, whether it's an actual child or just the birth of the new world. It can come up so many different ways. And this was at 6:04, and there's June 4th, 2018 again. Sagittarius, Capricorn or Pisces, Scorpio, and perhaps Cancer too here. So now we're going to go back and do the twin flame read in front of you. It's a really fast one. So let me show you the picture of that. Okay, so this is the read in front of you. This is the basic read from the Syrian Starseed deck. Okay, and then here's that full 7-deck read that you see on the table. And don't force it to fit if something doesn't resonate with you. It's a general reading. If you want something more specific, my information's below and on my website, twinflames3344.com. So here's the twin flame read in front of you. This was done at 9:59 last night. And that's the Syrian Starseed deck. And 9 is the Hermit, 59 is the 5 of Swords, the war within and without. That conflict of being in your truth, but not with any love. At 10:07, which is the Wheel of Fortune and the 7 of the Chariot, was EE of Chalices, which is energetic exchange of heart and emotion, very heartfelt, or a lot of emotions coming up there. And then at 10:08, Halices came up, which came up regarding those underground machines at 7:11 on the clock. Those underground machines between Switzerland and France, that I told you one of the machines was called Alice's, and they're, what are they called? the type of machines they are, it starts with an H. So the Halices was coming up regarding that again. But Alice's in general can be coming up too, and the lap dance of Alice. And 1008 is the Wheel of Fortune and the dance. So we have the 8 dance and the lap dance there. And then I finished clarifying, and my voice isn't coming up right here regarding the Halice's stuff, which is, some shady business down there. God knows what they're doing underground there. But anyway, at 1021, I finished clarifying here, which is the Wheel of Fortune and the 21 of the world. We have the Shadow, which is the Devil, Transition, which is the Death card or endings. And then after the read, Karma came up, which is the Judgment card, Justice, and the Star. There were 4 cups, 3 swords, 1 pentacle, and 1 wand. So a lot of cups and swords, which a lot of emotions and being too much in your head. Could be intellectualizing in a heartfelt way, but it can be both. And then we have 43 there, which is the 3 of Cups, and 11, which is Justice, Truth and Balance. And the major players here were the Page of Cups and the Queen of Wands in the read. Before the read was the 9 of Wands and the 9 of Swords, so the Wounded Warrior and the One Suffering in Silence. And after the read was the Knight of Wands. We had double 3s, double 4s, double 7s, and double 9s. So the 9s weren't as significant as the others. So 33 of the Christ vibration, standing up for yourself, was really important. 44 of grounding, integrating, and mastering. Receiving of love especially. And just learning how to ground and integrate and giving yourself time to do that. That's what boredom is for. And 77 of the Sovereign. 99 is that's the 9 of Pentacles. And 99 is all about compassion, endings, completion, the collective consciousness, the Hermit, the Wise One, all of that energy there. And completing the cycle. We also had 34 of the 8 of Wands, 47 of the 7 of Cups, the synchronicities, 79, which is the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow for me, 13 of the transition card, the death card, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, made in heaven, and 710, which is 0 behind 71, which is the 3 of Pentacles, the co-creation card for me, and then 78 also came up, the 10 of Pentacles, and 9, 10 begin again and again and again. Every time you expand, you have to come back to center, back to the heart each time. It's a spiritual practice. So the code line was all about forgiveness and intuition. And the F was separated from forgiveness. So F is the expanding, contracting, or reflecting, or giveness. And then intuition, of course, is in the twit connection, the twin towers of you and I in connection. The messages that came up from this code line today regarding forgiveness and intuition was the Christ flash of light being key regarding the bridge or ownership and seeing the key. If source flash of light comes up with that Ace of Cups, that new love, self-love, spiritual love, new love in union that you are, if there's forgiveness and using your intuition. So it's iffy, if not yes. Like if you're not sure of yourself, that you're going to be able to show forgiveness, to have that Christ flash of light, that shaving. The arrow also comes up here without the E in a plot of land that's usually part of farmland. So I'm seeing like, it's reminding me of Elizabeth April because she does target practice with her arrows. And she's got, like kind of farmland. So I'm literally seeing her doing that. But there's also pastry coming up here and seeing the key to a location of land, earth, and city, and a lady keeping to themselves. Also nanoseconds or tongue coming up here of the divine feminine key bridge to seeing the key location of the flash of light, expanding and contracting and reflecting giveness and forgiveness, and in the twin tower of the twin flames, you and I in intuition, the in connection, the in twin you and I connection. So I don't know. Well, it's saying, and also my name Ev came up. So, and nanoseconds comes up because nanotechnology was what Cryon was talking about as using to get the salt out of the water, but also to heal, right? Because it can heal diseases by putting that nanotechnology in the bloodstream. It can heal diseases. That was coming up, and it's, I guess they bring up the tongue as my tongue speaking that stuff to you guys to get that information out there. But the key to bridging locations as well, Southampton just came up, as well as whatever locations came up when I was talking before. And just knowing, like the flash of light is an epiphany. Like knowing in an instant, like you'll know in that moment. You don't have to know ahead of time. You'll know, right, that you're ready to forgive and use your intuition. The Ace of Cups, that loving union that you are, is the energy coming up here. We start here with the Page of Cups upright in the underlying energy. Okay, so this card here is the, oh, why it's blurry again. The Page of Cups over here with the mini cards on top, and beneath that Page of Cups, excuse me. Okay, the Page of Cups is the top card, and beneath the Page of Cups, from the bottom up, is the Nine of Wands, and that's upright, the Nine of Swords reversed, the Seven of Cups reversed, the Three of Swords reversed, and the Eight of Cups upright. And then on top is the Page of Cups. The wounded warrior, suffering in silence, or perhaps the wounded warrior dealing with their sister, or there could be two people, one's the wounded warrior and one's suffering in silence, dumping emotional attachments, and that's funny because emotional attachments, EAs, which I just brought up, Elizabeth April, who's EA, or multiple loads, or found the one no longer confused, healing and walking away to open heart to a message of love. Post-war downturn, the Queen of Swords reversed, maybe being negative or negative self-talk, or maybe they're giving someone the silent treatment or grieving or verbally abusive, or after a bad fight, a message of love, or a child coming in or a pet coming in to make them feel better. The Knight of Swords with the truth or a message for the Queen of Cups, who's very heart-focused, in peace at the present, or finding peace with gifts, but maybe drained, overexposed, or in need of sunshine, and working to align after death or ending with the Empress reversed, which can just be the energy of lack as well, or a mother who's in lack, or a mother who's passed, with a child or a pet who may be missing them and not understanding. You know how pets are when someone dies, they're confused because they don't know where they went. And that can be for a child as well. But Leo's coming up here as well as being strong, or after a death, or mother being strong, or a pet Leo or child who's really missing them and having compassion, or someone who's got no ride. And I watched a movie last night. It was kind of funny, actually. What was it called? It was called Just Short of Perfect. It was about a really tall woman who gets matched up with a really little guy. It was really cute. You know, you'd think something like that's really hokey, and it probably was, but it was a really cute movie, you know, bringing up the wounds of being very different. Because not only was he very short, but she was very tall as well. I'm sure she had plenty of her own abuse when she was growing up. It's 7:20 on the clock. 7 of the Chariot, 20 of the Judgment. It's also 7-2, though. And 2-7 was coming up earlier, which is the Ace of Wands, but also February 7th isn't too far from now, so that could be coming up. That's very significant. And already Valentine's Day had come up as significant, obviously. So, again, polarities of very tall and very short. After death with the Empress reversed, with a child or pet or Leo being strong, or after a death or mother being strong. And again, in the movie, he was Dr. Leon. So that's why I guess it reminded me of that. Or this pet Leo or child is really missing them, either missing them and having compassion for them, or missing them having compassion for them, and they miss that nurturing. Or someone doesn't have a ride here or a car. We have Libra and Scorpio, Taurus, and Leo all reversed, but Leo's also upright, so it could be two Leos, or just back and forth. And also Virgo reversed here. Or a pet owner passed away and the pet or child was found alone. Oh my gosh, that just reminded me of something, a wounding. There was a story a long time ago about a mother who was killed or died. I forget what happened to her. She died in her apartment and was found like 3 days later with her little child laying on top of her, like 3 or 4 years old, something like that, and just crushed me. The other story that's coming up that needs to be spoken right here is the story about the 12 or 13-year-old. He was 12 years old at the time. A 12-year-old boy ended up killing one of his best friends. Like, their moms were best friends, so they'd hang out together, and he'd babysit for her because she was younger than him. And he killed her by accident, but he went to jail. I mean, he did hard time for killing this little girl because he lied, because he was scared to get in trouble. So instead of telling them how it actually happened, because he was doing something he wasn't supposed to be doing, but it was very innocent. But instead, they assumed that he was swinging her around like a crazy person and just whacked her head on something and killed her. And that's not actually what happened. He actually wasn't supposed to jump down the steps, and he ran and jumped down the steps, and she was sitting at the bottom of the steps and killed her. So, but this killed me because my son was 12 at the time, and there's no way he could be tried as an adult. He was so, and my son is still innocent, but he was so innocent at the time. I just couldn't imagine this poor 12-year-old being put in prison. And then they showed him later, when he was around 17 in jail, and he had lost so much weight. He looked really good, but the poor kid. I mean, he definitely didn't do it on purpose. It was someone he loved. It just crushed me that he had to go to jail for something that he didn't do. I mean, he did, but it was an accident. So again, this pet or an owner passed. A pet or a child might have been found alone. Like, this could have been an old person who passed away. Nobody knew they passed away, and then the pet's found 3 days later, starving. Somebody unwalked, or perhaps a child left alone. Healing, forgiving, a sovereign, or perhaps a sovereign or a child who's independent with an ill parent, or going crazy and coming out to recover with dark energy streaming in, and perhaps the curtains were still open, or very expensive curtains not taken care of, or a bird got out and ruined them, or two recovering together, like the odd couple, like the couple I watched last night in the movie, both feeling left out but for opposite reasons. And then the children come up here, that they're affecting your love life, and beneath that is codependencies and the codependent relationship with your children, or children between each other, and finding peace with a lover, getting over the past, shocked or surprised, or a beautiful meal presented, done with the red couch, or psychological counseling, and reflecting, no more fantasy with the high priestess, now with the keys, and the family psychoanalyzing you, perhaps. So just being really done with all of that. Or perhaps at 1156, which is justice and the Two of Swords, may be worried about dysfunctional family interfering or interrupting in the middle of something, or just telling them to leave. Like, maybe someone shows up right in the middle where you're finally getting together with someone, and it's like someone saying, just leave the keys in the tray and get out of here. Like someone who always just walks in, like a mother who has a key, or someone who just insinuates themselves on you because that's their personality. They don't care. They do whatever they want. That kind of energy. So then Pisces upright comes up here. Follow your dreams with 85, which is the reflection of 58, which is like grounding union into your physical reality. And beneath that, personal growth, which is number 7 of the Chariot. Unhappy or dissatisfied with self, or just getting over it. Grounding and integrating boredom, or ignoring an offer due to brokenness, or just not having a car, or on the warpath in chaos trying to get out. At 11:59, which is literally the 11th hour, a minute before noon, or before midnight. This was last night. So at 12 a.m. last night, not sharing, inequity, not telling true feelings, or heated exchange with delay after delay, perhaps after death or near-death experience, or never-ending problems or story at the workplace with the Queen of Cups, releasing with the King of Pentacles, and what that would be like. So someone might be thinking about that. No bars and beautiful curtains, or like Cinderella making dresses out of curtains, or on a cruise, or at the Louvre, the King of Pentacles with vanilla wafers or Keebler cookies, and the barbershop quartet, or Romeo and Juliet, a love story. Could it be? Scorpio's reversed here with King of Pentacles upright and the Page of Cups. Strong pacifying the beast, or perhaps pacifying the child with their pacifier. Recovering from dark priestess, or a realtor with the keys and cleavage down to their knees, or their navel anyway, with bells on their ankles and toes, and the cat always at her big feet. Follow your dreams, or a child who's helping a parent to recover, but maybe losing their mind. The loving child or message in the downturn seeking peace, and Scrooge who's reaping rewards or keeping to themselves while another reaps rewards of coming together as twins, the Two of Cups and the Lovers both upright together over it in a night of the full moon eclipse, with good news heading their way to the sovereign who's frustrated or uninspired, or with a child who is. Or news for two children here. One may be mature about it, and one's all over the place at 12-14, the Hanging Man and the Higher Love. And in the recent past was the Ten of Pentacles reversed, that family, business, or community of dysfunction or loss, and the Hierophant committed, or a religious leader, or Taurus. And the Magician reversed, who's insecure, without tools, or manipulative, or unable to manifest. The Queen of Wands reversed, and the Queen of Pentacles upright, or Taurus, who's fiery, with Virgo or Aries Gemini in their chart, and the Queen of Pentacles dumping emotional attachments after a death or an end, or just dead tired, or unending lies, or split, with the Empress reversed, the King of Cups reversed, and the Page of Pentacles reversed, and the Knight of Swords who's upright but rushing in with the truth. Sharing or settling out, sharing or settling out. Perhaps starting a fight, or someone's just on a quest to pursue their own happiness. The King of Pentacles reversed, and the Star, maybe he is the Star, but he's losing money if he is, or he's just all about money, a jerk. Or performing and juggling with the Page of Cups, which can be innocent puppy love, it can be a sweet child, or it can be a baby. But sharing with the Hierophant here. The King of Pentacles reversed, Star, or Aquarius, or he's performing or juggling with the Page of Cups and sharing with the Hierophant. So that could be sharing a child in a marriage, or a message of love in a marriage, or people who are split up and passing a child between themselves. Or the King of Pentacles reversed, Healer, or with their dreams coming true, blowing the whistle, or with whistleblower. The Page of Cups sharing with others, and or being fair and equitable. Or the Page of Cups is offering love to the Ten of Pentacles reversed, family, business, or community, dysfunction or loss. And this also could be somebody's dreaming of this, that this will be the best case scenario, and that this other person will actually be willing to help out. So the foundation, the Six of Swords in peaceful waters, dumping responsibilities to be pacified, getting a massage, or getting the dog washed, or for Leo, child or pet, awake to the King of Wands reversed, or the King of Wands reversed who's egotistical, or Leo upright and Capricorn reversed, or can't sleep and they're really tired. The central energy was the shadow and a sticky situation, with the Knight of Wands reversed, perhaps suddenly guilt-ridden or paralyzed by their passions, with new information or clarity coming in and knocking them off balance, along with dealing with the Empress reversed, the King of Cups reversed, and the Page of Pentacles reversed in need of help, in a split or living a lie, with the Knight of Swords not letting them forget the truth, and the challenge being the Ace of Cups of self-love and spiritual love and new love, exuding with love and bliss, the King of Wands reversed, bringing good news, even though he's exhausted, to awaken the Divine Feminine, 5D, or the Twin Flame, in order to release her. And that just came. Unforgettable, that's what you are. And then that's just sitting there listening. He's so cute. Hello, thank you. Just flew away. The Page of Swords stepped up to take a swing and came back. He's not leaving this time. But the devil took his sword and swore an oath, or lied under oath, about juggling and performing, distracting others from what's really going on. The devil with their ball and chain adding fuel to the fire, and he not feeling like he was or had enough, that feeling of unworthiness. A karmic tie, and the worst of the pain over, except for the bliss. The Hermit reversed losing their mind over this, And fighting with X, jealousy after a sudden event of a big love offered from the one. And the Hierophant, religious leader, establishment, or the powers that be, or Taurus walked away from the King of Swords reversed and the King of Cups reversed. And now the Four of Cups. I don't even know if I finished this. The Four of Cups is with the lovers over there. And the Knight of Pentacles coming into the Ten of Cups family. A happy ending, or a happy family, or just complete emotional fulfillment. Someone wanting to go to work for a family that's really happy. But there's someone falling from grace, the fallen angel, who's the lover, and that could be Sagittarius energy, dealing with a lot of conflict with the Empress and the King of Pentacles. He's upright back there in the underlying energies, though. He's not in the read, he's reversed. And then walking away from this, somebody may be moving or visiting, and that could be the Emperor reversed. It looks like the Emperor and the Empress are splitting up, or they're not talking to each other. They're mad. They could be siblings, too, who are not talking. And then we have the Page of Cups, who's offering their love, which can be a message from the High Priestess as well, who's very frustrated with no growth or no new passion, with the King of Pentacles reversed, who may be trying to end the suffering, but is afraid to. Like, he's afraid to call. He chokes. He's not heeding the call. He needs to swallow his pride and deal with dysfunctional family, business, or community here, or a loss of money, or whatever the loss is here. With the Page of Swords reversed, which is frustration and holding on, grounding, trying to be practical at work. We have the Queen of Wands is up here too, with the Star card. And that could be the energy of someone who expects to be the one of, in the spotlight with all the attention all the time. Whether it's the King of Pentacles or the Queen of Wands. Both of them may want all the attention. Maybe that's not why it's not working out. So the Queen of Wands comes up here as what's coming up in the near future. Where is she? She's hiding. Where are you, Queen of Wands? She's reversed. Queen of Wands, Page of Wands, they're not happy over there. And there's a coming together, so they're obviously not happy about it. We got the King of Swords. The Kings are reversed, though, too. King of Swords is reversed. King of Cups, I think he was reversed, too. There's a coming together as the twins are in transition here. The Death card's reversed. So it's like after a death, or after an ending, after a transition, or the never-ending story, standing up for oneself to their twin flame, or being given a choice. And this is trying to work to get your ducks in a row, or get into alignment with what you want, figuring out what you want. But this is, either saving for a new life or playing hardball. Somebody could be just doing athletics, playing ball. This also could be, playing hardball and withholding time, money, and effort in order to come together in connection here, to find peace and justice and a finalization of a divorce. So keep an open mind. Religious factors and romantic feelings comes up for the twin flames here. And around the twins, or how they're seen, is this risk card. All right, we have the liar, cheater, thief, and the Seven of Orbs from this deck, which is about passing downloads. And this is about coming together with somebody who's free and they're really happy about it. They're taking a leap of faith to come together, but they may feel like they're lying, cheating, or sneaking around, as someone is then sneaking back to the wounded warrior over here. One person's the wounded warrior, one person's the fool. So they're all happy because they're free, but the wounded warrior is still defending their wounds or licking their wounds. And there may even be a third person who's the go-between, right? Someone's going between the one they want to be with and then the person they're not separated from or not completely disconnected from yet. But there is a coming together here, and the coming together is supporting the wounded warrior. The block is the Five of Swords war, and we're post-war here. So no more stretching and growing, no more psych couch type of energy was coming up in this read. At night, this is showing the eclipse energies and the falling out in the past. And this is like eclipsing that all out. You have the Knight of Cups reversed with the Queen of Wands reversed coming up here. So that's jealousy. You know, you don't want a Queen of Wands reversed with Knight of Cups reversed because that's like a Scorpio energy with fire in their chart on the rampage right here. And this is being very present to dreams coming true or stardom or an Aquarius. And this can be getting an offer of big love from the Queen of Cups, which can be the masculine. And that's why the Queen of Wands is freaking out over here. Because there was some good news coming in over here, waking somebody up, because they may be happy about it, because that could be the masculine freeing themselves over here. The Queen of Wands is really pissed, and the Queen of Cups is offering love. And then here we have that grounding and integrating of separation and finding satisfaction within oneself, right? Without needing someone else to be there. So there's definitely a lot of transition going on here. There may be some religious factors or other differences, like cultural differences, age differences that are coming up in the connection here, but keep an open mind. And then we end up with the Three of Cups. So, well, like I said, those cards up at the headers are about going forward. And you have the Two of Cups with the Lovers both upright and coming together here. There's a twin flame connection coming together there. And there's someone here who may be sad or getting over it. Yeah, they're getting over it. So the grieving, it's getting over it, no longer dealing with that stuff, but the card's still there. So they're still getting over it, but they are getting over it. Grounding and integrating any kind of brokenness, and then dealing with the moon from the full moon lunar eclipse last night with good news coming out of this. And the Sovereign. The Page of Wands at the top, at the end there he's reversed. So that could just be the Sovereign's frustration, or it could be another child. Like one child's independent and on board with the masculine, and then the other child is not. You know, they're kind of like all over the place. They're having struggles. So we end up here with coming together with there's a lot of Aquarius energy up there because the Judgment card comes up there reversed and the Star card, which is upright. So there's upright and reversed Aquarius energies. And then the Knight of Wands, who's reversed. That's the one who's paralyzed by their passions or afraid to leap where they want to go. Again, it's that, choking and not following the call to action. The King of Wands and the Four of Swords is up there too, which is reversed. So awakening or can't sleep and coming out about it. And then the Justice is up there along with the Star. And they're both upright. So that could be like somebody's dream is their divorce to be finalized. But that also could be Libra and Aquarius. But dealing with waking up or coming out to somebody, and then the Knight of Wands is reversed there. But there's a coming together here in happiness. There is forgiveness and intuition here, along with the Six of Pentacles. Where is that Six of Pentacles? Yeah, settling out. Someone's sharing or settling out. The big passion isn't here yet, but they're working on it. Somebody's saving for a new life to come together, to walk away from dysfunctional family, business, community, whatever it is for them now, and going forward, even though somebody might be scared to confront their passions. But it may be, once they get a divorce, they're going to be at peace and moving on and connecting here. So very interesting. So let me pull a few oracle cards. It's getting really long already. Sorry, I know in the beginning it was really disjointed again, I guess because of the eclipse last night. It was trouble getting through the beginning of this, and now I forgot to finish the read before I did this for you. So we have the Page of Cups and the underlying energy over there, right? So that's that innocent, open heart, pure new love. And the center of the read is the shadow. It's upright, right? Temptation, codependencies. It's like being shoved in your face right now. All the crap that needs to still come up, that last of the crap that's in you, just being shown right in your face. You have to be able to deal with it with a wide open heart, not blocking yourself, being afraid to deal with those kind of things. The challenge being the Ace of Cups, which is the only ace that's upright in this read because everything else isn't ready to go forward yet. But the Ace of Cups is here, and it's a big offering from the Queen of Cups over here, as if the Page of Cups is willing to open their heart, even though they may be a little bit immature emotionally regarding this situation. And the Cups cards are coming together here at the end, with the Two of Cups and the Lovers here, and the Three of Cups next to that as well. Yeah, grounding, integrating, and mastering is the ability to be able to receive love. Done with the stretching and growing, done with the Queen of Wands craziness, done with deaths, endings, and transition stuff, right? And that need to take a risk for yourself, for love, for dreams to come true. It can happen to you if you're young at heart. Our takeaway from this read: the spider, the web, the wicked web we weave. And this can represent the grid as well. A sticky situation came up with the devil in the middle of this read. There's the devil in the middle of the read right here. And then you got a lizard there too. And that can represent the Queen of Wands if she's reversed over here. So, you know, the spider and the lizard are probably two of the creatures most of us don't want to come across. Not sure if we'd wanted to deal with that. And here we have the moth to the flame who can't resist the flame. And there's the beaver working really hard. Right? This is the web, the sticky situation, and this could be this three-way situation, right? The moth drawn to the flame, the hardworking beaver, and the lizard over here. And then we have the eclipse, the phoenix, big transformation, the phoenix rising, right? Diving to complete, well, I'm losing the word I want. Now, I don't want to say demolishment. But yeah, like burned to nothing but ashes to be resurrected in wisdom, regarding the hot-headed elk who loses his temper when he doesn't eat properly. And look at all the colors. It's all about the lower chakra colors. And then there's the hawk clearing the way using their lower chakra colors. So clearing the dark, we're blasting through those lower three chakras here, right? The phoenix blasting through the last of the lower three chakras. You know, those things that you don't want to think of that are still in you, that you didn't notice. And really clearing, like super clearing. It's like the phoenix over here is this hawk over here. They've risen and they're now flying and clearing the way as they go. And there's that birthing. There's the golden egg. The golden child. Aw, so cute. That's the baby feather I got today. It was the tiniest little feather. It was so messy. The nightingales singing their song is so pure and sweet. And this could be a baby that you're dealing with, or somebody who is very sweet. But this is someone standing on the collective awakening, but in a very sweet, innocent way. And this definitely could be a birthing of a big new day. When the student is ready, the teacher will come. And look, there's the teacher wrapped all around. Oh, we missed the star. And what did I start out this whole session with? The 7-pointed star. That one's the 5. I'm not going to count to 10. I'm going to count to 5 is what I'm getting from the cobra. You're not getting 10 anymore. But yeah, here's like the cobra wrapping itself around the new egg, keeping it away from the star. And look what else came up here. This is crazy. Well, I told you I couldn't figure it out if it was like a 5 or 6 star. I thought it was at least 6 or 8. Here's the octopus right afterward. And here's the 7. So it's saying here's the 5 or 6 star, here's the 8-legged octopus. And then in the middle is the collective awakening with the snake, the teacher, the kundalini that wrapped itself around to protect the egg from the star, from the superficial. But this is coming up as the 7, right? 8 and the 5 or 6, and then the 7 in between. The cosmic egg is the crown opening, the 7th chakra. Look at that. Okay? So there's a sticky situation with the lizard, the moth, and the beaver eclipse. Where the phoenix rises in wisdom about their hot-headedness and the need to use their wisdom to clear the way for a brand new day. The golden egg, the sweet little bird with their pure little voices like baby's breath. And there comes this, right? When there's a vulnerable energy here, here comes the cobra. When the student is ready, the teacher comes, and some of these kids are going to be ready right out of the nest or right out of the womb. The teacher comes to deal with the superficial star in this deck. This is a very superficial energy, right? They never needed to work hard for anything because they always got everything handed to them. And then here's the energy of the cosmic egg, the crown chakra blasting wide open and dealing with someone who's all hands perhaps, but their brain's being overstimulated. And in an octopus, they have other brain centers that can act independently from the brain. So it's like their left hand doesn't know what their right hand is doing. That's what this energy is coming up as. So there's this really disconnected energy here and here. But the 7th chakra here is the one, and the teacher is protecting the egg from these two energies here. And that could be protecting them from their siblings, for sure. That is so cute. Then the last two, at the bottom of the deck is the peacock. And they're the same within and without, right? Beautiful within, beautiful without. So what you see is what you get. So they may be a little funky looking, but they are beautiful and loving. And they have that very balanced energy with the green, the blue, and the yellow, which is right in the center of the chakra system. These two cards also came out, the firefly and the dragon's eye. And this is like me talking to Nat. This is how Nat sees me, right? Because the Nat's tiny. Tiny Tim and me. Nat, you see me as a dragon? That is so funny. But the firefly is all about fleeting inspiration. This is so funny. Because, my eyes are this color. So it's like Nat coming up and saying, you're beautiful to me. Even if you look like a dragon, you're still beautiful to me. Unforgettable, that's what you are. That is so funny. Oh my God. All right, I got to pull you out. I have to pull you a Journey of Love card. Nat, you're so funny. Where'd you go? Nat. He never stays for long. He's always around here, so I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, but it's a Nat. I guess they want you to laugh. So anyway, the dragon's eye is very profound. This is the cover of this deck is the dragon's eye there. And if you look long enough in the mirror, you're going to see a dragon in you. Because that's what comes up when you look at your eyes really close in the mirror. Somebody else was bringing that up. Somebody's video a long time ago. I'm getting something else from the dragon now. Give me a second. It's also saying, we all have reptilian bloodlines. I mean, I'm not saying everyone has reptilian bloodlines in them, but it's, we're humans from other realms. We have lots of blood from other universes, and the Pleiades, Sirians, Arcturians, Andromedans, the reptilians, whatever. We're mutts. Okay. So we have the spaces between the words, which is the 24 of the Queen of Wands, but this is a very flat 2D energy. And then we have heaven. I'm in heaven, and I don't know what the words are to say. But it just reminds me of the Green Mile, because that was the movie he asked to watch before he got killed. And this is definitely like a movie, the movie projector being screened out, the Green Mile. So why is that coming up? Oh, because lizards are green. The Green Mile. Don't sentence them before you get to know one. That's what I'm getting. Because takes one to know one, okay? So again, don't judge a book by its cover. You're going to be meeting lots of other ETs one day when they eventually land. So here, the space between the words, right? Don't judge a book by its cover. There's the good and bad in everybody, the dark and the light in everybody. It's about you just not, you have to be the example to teach everybody else to heal our own wounds and have a spiritual practice, to keep us in our authentic self, coming back to center and back to our hearts every time. It's a practice like anything else. And then the sacred convergence comes up here. Right? We're all the same in the eyes of heaven. And the sacred convergence of the 28 of the twins coming together at the 9/11 memorial, where the ice pop all of a sudden pops up from beneath the ground and comes up with the Pleiadians on top. They're like the icing on the cake, the candles. Oh, that's so funny. One of the pictures I posted from my pictures last night, it was literally at 11 o'clock last night, after I'd done a video on the sunset, and then I was taking pictures later, for the full moon and then the eclipse. But at 11 o'clock at night, I went to the sink, and there was these bright headlights just staring right at me through the window from the street up the hill. And when I took pictures, it was really hard to get any decent pictures because the screen in the window and all that kind of stuff. But what came through was like a birthday cake. And that's what's coming up here, is the birthday cake. And I had the headlights were 2 candles. And that's the energy of the twins. And I'd said happy birthday on that, I'm getting it. They say it's your birthday. Happy birthday to ya. They say it's your birthday. Happy birthday to ya. So that's coming up here. And this literally has a birthday cake being pushed up from the 9/11 memorial with the Pleiadians on top, which I had gotten that download a long time ago about the Statue of Liberty, that the angels will be at the foot of the Statue of Liberty when the Pleiadian ship comes in with a delivery. I'm getting that deliverance. And this is the last card of the deck, Heaven on Earth. And again, I'm in heaven. I'm just getting that movie projector, right? The 2D version is the movie. But this is the 3D version, or the 4D, 5D version, right? So they're saying the movie was just a 2D representation of the real thing that you will experience. How cool is that? Wow. There's so many people coming together. But everybody's so peaceful. And in this heaven card, they're all dancing 2 by 2s. And in my rant yesterday, it was 2 by 2 by 2, or 7 plus 1 equals 8. And we talked about the 7-pointed star here and the oneness of the circle in the middle. There you go, twins. Wow, that's really cool. But I have to say, I love my Nat message the best. The next card is Hieros Gamos. There you go. As we have the ripple effect from the eclipse last night. It'll take a bit to resonate. But Hieros Gamos, there you go. The bottom of the deck is the heart fire. There's that Christ golden white light inside the red of the rose of the heart fire, the passion that's inside your heart, the one of the magician embodiment. All right, what was I have to read you the spider web because that was the first one out. I'm really like kind of fumbling today. Where are you, spider? As soon as I find it, that spider's being very elusive. Who was being elusive yesterday? Wasn't the spider. Here he is. Creator of prosperity through life's work and dharma. The spider's ingenious creator. Its greatest gift is weaving the thread of dharma into a vast, intricate web that supports the spider and those around it, both financially and spiritually. It's hard work, but the spider neither tires nor becomes impatient. This card reminds us that creativity is everywhere. Be process-oriented rather than results-oriented, and soon your work becomes like the weaving of magical, priceless tapestry. Abundance follows. When in balance, appreciative, enthusiastic, and prosperous. When out of balance, discouraged, tired, and forlorn. To bring back into balance, playful creativity. That's for the spider, and that's in the middle of the read, so regarding the shadow. And the shadow card has a spider web in it. So that was definitely very significant to the read. The dragon is the solar plexus chakra, right? It's like it's your higher self, you know. So it's seeing one's most true self, balancing the ego. The dragon sees everything. Its essence has been with us since before our first breath and will be there at our last. It watches us navigate the external world as well as our inner world. When dragon energy is awakened, we are courageous, visionary, and can easily drop into witness consciousness. It's almost as if we are traveling with a great friend inside of ourselves. When we look in the mirror deep into our eyes, we may even glimpse the self behind the self, the one who is watching us. This is the power of the dragon breathing transformative fire into every cell of our bodies. Witnessing its omnipotent energy, even for a brief moment, helps us surrender and let go. We let the dragon guide us. We hop on its back for a ride, and as we traverse even the most difficult terrain, the dragon's eyes see beauty everywhere. It is said that if a yogi does not see beauty in the world, their agni is dim. It's described as the inner fire or sacred intelligence. May even just the mention of the dragon stir the embers of intelligence within you. And it is the third chakra, at the navel center, at the Manipura chakra, which translates to the city of hidden gems, and behind its gates burns the fire of our transformation and digestion. The sages believe health of the fire at the navel center is what governs our ability to clearly see both the inner and outer dimensions. And I'm Virgo, and Virgo rules the intestines, so we always have nervous stomachs. So we're probably the worst of it when it comes to this energy of having confidence, right? Because we worry about everything. So that was what came up regarding the dragon. And by the way, the dragon from the Metatron deck was the first card out, the dragon fire, and the number was 19 of the sun. So yeah, very significant of the spider web and the shadow, and the dragon, which is your higher self, like conquering your fears. And then with the journey of love, the first card out is 24. The space between the words. When we look for guidance, we often look for words that clarify, to reassure and help us find our authentic path through the chaos. Yet there's also guidance in the spaces between the words, between each letter, between all the happenings in our lives. Whether there's nothing to be said, where there are no lines to be colored in, where there is just openness. Those are the times when we need to freestyle. We need to do or not do based on what's happening for us right at the moment. Often there's far less to do than we think. Often we don't need to think. There's a space forming around you now. Sometimes when we sense this subconsciously, we feel exhilarated and excited, or anxious and nervous and not even sure why. There's a sense perhaps that we wouldn't mind having a map of this unknown terrain, or perhaps we are happy to wing it and make it up as we go. Either way, there is space to just be. It is a receiver for the divine presence. If you have a lot of space of unknowing around you now, or within you, then just know that there's a lot of divine presence to be received. It can't be explained really. It happens between the words, and yet without it, there wouldn't be any words or any guidance at all. This oracle speaks to you. Enter the space and let go, for your time to receive is upon you. Be blessed. And the poem is called Day Birth. The eastern rise of time on newborn wings bursts out across the lifeless crowd and sings its climb to heights unknown, of beauty, warmth, and power upon its throne, to fade again in the western sky and only for a moment lie, before it takes its course again, to breathe once more in the heart of man. So it's really about seizing the day, which came up in my rant as well. Okay, guys, make sure you drink your water, get your rest, get your joy in your nature, and hopefully I'll be able to speak better tomorrow. Rise and be loved, guys. I will see you soon. Bye.